Namaste, beautiful. Welcome to Bakasana or Kakasana to Chaturanga practice. So, of course, before going into this practice, I strongly recommend that you are at least warmed up in the wrists and the shoulders. So I will link my general arm balance warm up here. You can also just do things that you know how to do, which if you are at this level, you probably know things to do to warm up your wrists and shoulders. So you can also do that. And I also recommend that you have an understanding of how to do crow and or crane, Bakasana and or Kakasana. If you would like more information on that, I also have classes on those, which I will link here. Assuming that all of those things are taken care of, let's go ahead and start. So I should disclaim that I'm not the best in the world at jumping back, and I feel sufficient enough that I can give you tips to teach you. I can do it. It's not the most beautiful thing that I do. But it's more about telling than showing, right? So let's go ahead and find our crane or our crow. So if we're doing crow, then our arms are bent. If we're doing crane, then our arms are straight. And so really you can be jumping back from crow with knees on elbows as well as knees under armpits. I guess, you know what, let's do all three. So let's start with let's start with the beginner crow. Yeah, so our knees are wide and they are above our elbows. We are looking forward, our arms are nice and bent. And so in order to jump back, now we're already in the position that we need to be to jump back, which is why it's nice to start here. So our feet, we want to be nice and high, and we're leaning forward, and then we simply straighten the legs as we continue to lean forward. Yeah. So basically what makes it easier so none of it's easy, right? What makes it easier to jump back is that we have this weight forward already. Yeah, because basically we're trying to find the way that our weight can be distributed evenly over the arms. Yeah. And so when the legs are jumping back, yeah, because we're compacted in our crow. And so if the legs are jumping back, then we want to make sure that the shoulders are forward to even it out, right? Okay. So then let's move up the arms. So let's move up now to have our knees, they can be under the armpits. You can have them a little bit lower if you want to. I find it is actually, again, easier to have the knees up closer to the armpits because then they can really be the knees rather than like kind of above the knees that is resting there. And I find it more comfortable and stable that way. And you kind of want to be stable before you're jumping back. Yeah. All right. So let's have our knees up toward our armpits. Again, our hands are shoulders width distance apart. We're, of course, keeping more weight in the front of our hands than we are in the back of our hands to try to be kinder to the wrists since we are leaning quite forward and we're leaning even more forward as we jump the feet back. Yeah? All right. So let's go up into our crow. So our arms are still bent here. And then we lift up our feet and then lean forward more and then jump the feet back. Yeah. Ideally, you'd be able to float. You'd be able to lift your feet up a little bit higher. This is something I'm still working on, as I already mentioned. So, but now just to know that, to make it more graceful than I can do it at this point, then if you do have the strength to be really leaning forward, and as you're leaning forward, to be using the abs, I believe, to pull the feet up more and then kind of float them back. It can be more graceful, and it's something that I hope is in my future, and if it's not, then that's also fine. Yeah? Okay, so now let's start from crane. So we're going to start like we just did, except our arms are going to be straight, right? So here we go. Arms nice and straight. Our knees are up in our armpits. I might need to start using a mat after this. The floor is quite slippery. It's very hot. Okay. Straight arms. Lift the feet. And then we're still going to bend the arms now in order to jump back, because it feels nicer that way. And it helps us, right? It allows us to be leaning forward more when we bend the arms, right? So even in my experience, I'm sure it's possible to jump back with your arms straight, but I find that bending the arms, even from our cranes, so even if they're straight, right, and bending the arms to then bring the feet back. So essentially, every time we're jumping back, it's kind of from the same position, even if we started in a different position. Yeah? Okay. That's that. If you have questions, comments, concerns that hopefully I can clear up for you, please let me know. I will do my best to address them. And otherwise, thank you for being here, for allowing me to guide you with so much love. Namaste.